Welcome to Ladies Talking Business on PlusTV Africa. I'm your host, Moremi, Akano. Our guest today is Chinyere Okorocha, a lawyer, keynote speaker, a career coach and mentor, and an author. As a lawyer for over 30 years, she specializes and is recognized as an expert in intellectual property law, where she helps people and corporations legally protect their brand names and other intangible assets from unauthorized use. As a career coach and mentor, she founded and runs a career mentorship program called Hills and Ladders Career Mentorship Club, where she helps smart female professionals achieve accelerated career growth. With over 30 years to her credit, building a successful legal career, 25 years as a wife, and 24 years as a mom, she has had the privilege of navigating the difficult terrain of being a female professional, a wife, and a mother. She sits on the board of ethics of a renowned hospital chain in Nigeria. She is also on the advisory board as a consultant to the Healthcare Federation of Nigeria, as well as a member of the World Association for Medical Law. In the course of her career, she has received various appointments and recognitions, including rankings from Who is Who Legal, Chambers Global and Managing Intellectual Property, to mention but a few. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Moremi. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Yes.
How can one marry the concept of business and the legal profession?
Oh, I mean, that's a fantastic question. The truth of the matter is the origins of legal practice are almost like a social enterprise where services were provided absolutely free. Okay. But as the law evolved, it became very clear that legal services needed to be paid for, and a lot of lawyers have now transited into being full-fledged businesses. And so unlike in the past when you had like sole practitioner, who just did the law, you have huge law firms that have up to 200, 300 people who have all the business principles in place within the law firm. So there'll be a marketing team, a business development team, HR is separate, you would have finance department, buying and selling of the services is a big deal. And then all the trainings, that anybody in a corporation would have. And those are the most successful law firms today. So I can tell you without any iota of doubt that law is indeed a business. And all those business principles that apply to the big conglomerates, apply to the successful 21st century law firm.
So would you think, or would you say that, or rather would you advise that some principles of business, I know in law there's business law and all that, but it doesn't really, treat the business aspect.
How to run a business.
So would you advise that be included into a curriculum for lawyers?
Absolutely. I mean, I am the vice chairperson of the Nigeria Bar Association Women's Forum. And one of the trainings we do for female lawyers is to introduce the business principles, into the trainings that we do. And I dare say we actually intend to make a presentation to the Nigerian Law School to amend their curriculum to include these business principles in the curriculum at an early age. Because what happens is lawyers, you can open your own law firm from the minute you're called to the bar, but you have no business skills.
So let's talk about running a profitable law firm. I know that in law, you're not allowed to advertise your services. Bearing that in mind and the practice of law itself, how can I run a profitable law firm?
Okay, so I work in a law firm called Jackson, Etienne. We're one of the larger law firms in Nigeria. And what we found with time is that, yes, you can't advertise your services, but you can tell your story. So if you were doing work for a client, you're subject to the fiduciary relationship between, or confidentiality is a word, that you'd better understand. You could, after the deal is done, publish the facts that you acted for that client in a huge deal. and you put it out in your social space and in the newspapers, and then other people see you and say, oh, if they did it for that person, they can do it for me. Yeah. Do you understand? And then the social media space is so vibrant today. So you have LinkedIn, where you put out information about your firm, telling your story, saying the fantastic things you're doing, the conferences you're organizing, thought leaderships that you've produced, how you've advised the government, helped to change policy. And then there's your website, where you are allowed to put all these information, you know, and push it out there. So you're not really advertising. The thing about advertising is telling people, you know, they shouldn't use another, maybe bad mouthing, you know, or saying you're the best thing, you know, since sliced bread. But what you're doing in this current dispensation is telling your story of the things and activities that you are embarking upon, which endear you to would-be clients. And that way, you can make a name for yourself. Indeed, even personal branding, apart from the law firm as it's, you know, on its own, the various lawyers get to tell their stories, and it's not seen as advertising.
So let's talk about then running the law firm. So I have everything in place. How do I run it to ensure that I make money?
Okay, so the firm where I'm working is 25, it will be 26 this year, and I joined Jackson Etienne Edu from day one. And we've grown from just about 6 people, 6 lawyers, to over 70 lawyers in the law firm today, and a support staff of about 200. So if you were to mention the top 5 law firms in Nigeria today, we will be mentioned. So I've seen us grow through the ranks. So it takes dedication, and it takes teamwork. No one person has all the answers. You rely on each other. Some people have certain strengths. Some people are better at marketing. Some people are more technically inclined. Some people are better client-facing. So you find people with diverse characteristics or traits, and you come together as a team, and you make it happen. That's how to run a successful law firm. Team is everything. And then if you reinvest the money that you're making back into the business in terms of infrastructure, IT, I guess your public image and all that, as well as doing things that would attract the clients, like symposiums, throwing out the thought leadership there, making sure you have an accounts department that takes care of the money and make sure you get paid. I think that's the way to go. Another thing that makes a successful law firm, like I have said, is taking trainings that are not legal trainings. You know, you have to learn how to become an entrepreneur if you want to run a successful law firm today. So I can tell you for free, I've done accounting for non-accountants, I've done sales and marketing training, I've done what's that one? A high efficiency training, you know, all sorts of things that are not necessarily legal. If you can do that, you invariably get those business skills that you need in order to run a successful business, increase your knowledge. Obviously, your knowledge of the law is taken for granted. And if you can do all that, I assure you, your practice will thrive.
Then, yeah,
because there's so many people in the world. You understand, Nigeria alone, over 200 million. Then you think of the international community. There are not enough lawyers to service everybody. So there's work. There's enough work for us all, I think.
Okay, so let's still talk about legal talk.
Okay.
As an intellectual property lawyer, or let's say expert,
tell
us about some interesting facts about IP.
Okay, so intellectual property, which is my core practice area and what I'm known for, is just property of the mind. So it's anything you can use your human intellect to create. So it's about creativity. So there are two main headings for intellectual property. I'm breaking it down to the barest minimum. There's copyright on the one side that everybody knows about. So there you have the creative industry, musicians, broadcasters like you, like your PlusTV. Then you have the actors and actresses. Then you have literary works. So people who do their novels and all that, it's from their intellect. Think about it. Then even architectural works are also covered under copyright. And so the law allows you to protect that creation and exclude others from having the benefit, unless you give them what we call a license. And then the other hand, remember we're defining intellectual property, you have what we call the industrial property. And that's where you have trademarks, which are the names of products that you see in the marketplace. So PlusTV is a trademark, and so many others, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I said ladies talking business.
Absolutely, you know. And then you have the patents. The patents are inventions that are methods of carrying out certain acts. It can be the formula in your medicine, the formula in the drinks we see around us, the engine of a car or a TV. All those are patents, the type of patents. Very difficult, but they must be new. They must be novel. You know, for you to get the protection, no one else should have done it, or an improvement on an existing one. And then you have the designs, which are the shapes of objects. I'm looking around me, looking for anything I can use an example. So it's a 2 or 3 dimensional shape. And then newer types of IP include the domain names. So you have the .ng, .com, you know. And then more recently, you have the artificial intelligence. You have IP issues around Bitcoin, you know, and cryptocurrency, you know. So it's really interesting. And I find IP so interesting because it's all around us. So I always like to use the analogy of someone in their house who wakes up from sleep. And when you wake up in the morning, you jump out of bed, head into the bathroom, you know, to shower. You use a shower gel that has a name. You use a which is IP. You use toothpaste, and then you might switch on the TV and say, I want to watch PlusTV today. You switch it on. PlusTV is a trademark. The broadcast coming in is IP. The TV set you're looking at is branded. Then you wear your clothes. Your clothes are made by a particular label. Your shoes, your bags, all branded. All these are types of intellectual property. Then you want to have your breakfast and you pick up your cereal, it's branded. Do you understand? Or anything you want to eat, if it's sausages or whatever. And then you enter your car. You haven't left your house. You can imagine how many IP, types of IP we've mentioned. If you have a headache, you take something for it. That's a patent. And then you get to your car. Your car is branded. You get into the car and you put on the radio stations. Then different stations.
IP is everywhere.
It's everywhere. There's no part of the industry, you know, in the world today that doesn't have an IP element. And I find it so exciting that when I'm driving on the road, I see all the billboards, I see the, you know, everything branding, and I find it really exciting.
Amazing. We'll talk more about this shortly.
Wonderful.
We will go on a quick break now. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You are still watching Ladies Talking Business on PlusTV Africa. And my guest is still Chinyere Okorocha. So let's talk about career, mentorship, because I know you're a coach. So as someone who mentors business women and career women, what steps can one take to achieve accelerated career growth?
Okay, I particularly mentor women and coach women, and I was indebted to that by my own journey. So I think it's very important when women are climbing up the career ladder to be able to find their voices. A lot of women are silent. They don't know who they are. You know, a lot of the time you enter a room and you want the floor to open and you go under it. You know, so confidence is important when you're trying to go up the ladder. And confidence comes from knowledge. So if you're in a position where you can make a difference, but you don't speak, you have to find a way to infuse confidence in yourself. So that would be the first thing I would say. And confidence comes from knowing your stuff. If you know your stuff, you've done your training, you know you have what it takes to service, both within your organization and with the clients, as we as lawyers say, then you will grow. The second thing is to realize that you can't do it on your own. Especially, you know, when you're transitioning from being a young woman, then you get married, and then the kids start coming. The mistake a lot of us make is that we kind of think that we can do everything, you know, so you're struggling on the home front with the children and the husband, and you come to work and, you know, sometimes you just can't keep up the pace. And many women have had to drop out of the work environment just to take care of the home. But recognizing very early that you have to look for help, and that help, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to, pay someone. It can be a family member, it can be your mother, mother-in-law, a sister from the village. I remember when I had my first child, every day we pack the whole thing of the little girl and take her to my sister's house. She stays there during work, and then after work I go and pick her. Ideally, it's good to have a driver, a nanny, a cook, or whatever, but not everybody can afford that. So within your own means, recognize that there are resources around you that you can use, even fellow colleagues in the office that can step in for you, when you need to go to school for a child, for Parents' Giving Day or Sports Day or whatever it is. Another thing I also always tell women is that you should learn to delegate and learn how to say no. So a lot of the time we get overwhelmed with so much, you just don't want to say no because you think you're going to be victimized. But you have to set boundaries, even in the workplace. You have to be able to recognize that you can't do it all and use the resources around you to delegate to other people, We have that thing in us that if it's not me that does it, anybody else will make it, make a mistake. These are just a few tips. There's so many things women can do. Creating a career blueprint is also very important. So getting the clarity of where you want to go in your career and now creating a blueprint or a map, with time frame, with the things you need to do to get you from the point where you are now to point from A to B and filling in between, with either training or networking or personal branding. All these things come into place to make you stand out from the crowd and improve your chances of being recommended for promotion and accelerate you up the ladder faster.
Amazing. So still talking about careers.
Yes.
At what point will you know it's time to switch careers?
Oh my goodness.
That's why I had to pause before asking.
At what time will you know? So if you have gone through, say, my Heels and Ladders training. Heels and Ladders is the platform under which I mentor female professionals. We do something called clarity and identification of core values. So clarity is like just what the word says, being clear about your career path. And then core values are things that are of intrinsic importance to your well-being. So for some people, that core values can be flexibility, can be family, it can be spirituality, it can be excellence. These are just a few. So we do some exercises that make you understand. It's almost like discovering who you are. So when you discover who you are, you can now analyze yourself and your current role and see those things that are important to me in life. Am I getting them in the job where I am? Are my core values aligned with the circumstances of my current employment? Because if you don't align your your goals or your current circumstances with your core values, you begin to feel frustration. You understand? You're unhappy in the career. You're going nowhere. You go anywhere the wind blows you. The next, shiny new toy, you want to have it. So it's important to do some type of introspection into who you are, what you really want, and then do the analysis with where you are currently, and then you'll be able to identify whether you've outgrown where you are, or whether you now know you've taken enough from where you are, in terms of maybe the training, the experience, the networking, and it's time to move on. But only you will know when that point is.
Okay, so I now know it's time for me to move on.
Oh my goodness.
So
okay.
what is the best way to go about it?
Knowledge. So I always tell people you must gather as much knowledge as you can before you take that step. So yes, you've decided you want to move, but where do you want to move to? That's the first question. What is it about where you are now that isn't fulfilling your goals for yourself? And then where can you get it? So you must have a destination in place. I always say that if you don't know where you're going, how can you get there? It's the destination of where you want. I want to work in a Fortune 500 company. I want to become the CEO of the next big company, or I want to be the managing partner of my law firm, or I want to enter into the UN, or I want to become a senior advocate of Nigeria. All these are goals. So having identified that this is what you want, then you map out the plan of how to do it. So again, knowledge. What do I need? Do I need to train? Do I need a master's abroad? Do I need some certification? Do I need to find out who knows XYZ? What resources do you need? So don't just move blindly. Don't just put in your letter blindly. You must have a plan. There must be a proper exit strategy for where you are with a mapped out and timelines. Any goal, your goals must be smart. Any goal that doesn't have a timeline, is just a dream.
Oh, okay. I agree with that, and we'll talk more about it after the break.
Wonderful.
We will go on a quick break now. Please stay with us. You are still watching Ladies Talking Business on PlusTV Africa. And so far, we've been discussing business and career growth with our guest, Chinyere Okorocha. So what common errors do you see professionals or even business people make in their career or business?
Okay, so particularly in reference to women, the errors are the biggest one I see women making is that horrible thing called imposter syndrome.
That horrible thing.
Yes, the imposter syndrome of thinking or feeling, having that voice in your head that tells you that you're not good enough. And sometimes it cripples you so that the actions you're meant to take in your career or in business, you don't take them. You second guess yourself every step of the way. And I'm told men suffer from it, too, but you don't really see it because it is a men's world. So my advice to women is that you have to tackle it head on. And one of the ways that I have used is to keep what I call a victory log.
Right. What's a victory log?
A victory log is basically a journal where you write all your victories. So anything you've done that, that is positive, that has impacted people, clients, family, friends, anything, you put it in there. And when you're feeling like you're not good enough, you bring it out and you said, I did this. I was able to raise $100 million loan or whatever from my clients, or I was able to, think of some positive things. And it can be little things. But what it does is it boosts your character, it boosts you, it motivates you to want to do more. And it makes you step out of your comfort zone. And that takes me to the second one. A lot of women like to play in the comfort zone. But I can tell you for free, nothing happens in the comfort zone. You need to get comfortable with discomfort in order to succeed in business and in your career. I recently, the first quarter of the year was so busy for me. I had so many engagements, client meetings, family, because family is a core value to me. I like to make sure that my family is okay. So immediately after the first quarter, I had this event that I organized for the Nigeria Bar Association Women's Forum. It was a big event, March was all Women's Month anyway. And I took off. I just needed to shut down. So that takes me to the third point. You have to also know that your health matters, that you need to listen to your body such that when you need to shut down, you actually shut down. But a lot of us, we keep going. Your body is telling you that you should take a break and you ignore it. And that leads to burnout. So That's 3. There's so many more.
I know that there will be so many.
But in the interest of time,
yeah,
let's leave it at 3. At 3, yes.
Okay, so let's talk about mentorship. I know that's your thing. But why is it important for female professionals to seek mentorship?
Oh, it's absolutely important because when I was growing up, early on in my career, I didn't have a mentor per se. I had someone, a role model, who till today I've never spoken to her. She was a lawyer, and I just loved the way she looked. She was intelligent, she was smart, and I just wanted to emulate her, And so it's important that we have role models, people who have been on the route we want to take, who can tell us where all the valleys are and the hills, so that
bumps.
The bumps, so that's what mentorship does. It's somebody who can, kind of help guide you on your career and make sure that you don't make the mistakes that they made. There's a common adage that says that the best ideas are always someone else's.
Right.
And I'm an IP lawyer, so I shouldn't be saying this, right? But I say it in the sense that it's good to emulate the good parts of people who have been on the path that you want to go to. But don't forget yourself in the process. You must remain your authentic self. So you take the good parts of what they're teaching you, what the mentor has to offer, the advice from experience, which is important, but also personalize it to help you on your own career journey.
Interesting. Very quickly, before I let you go. So what's the best way to approach a potential mentor?
That's a really good question. Recently on LinkedIn, a young lawyer reached out to me and he said, "Hello, Ma. I'm so happy to connect. Please let me know if there's any research I can help you with in the future. I would love to remain connected in this space." I thought that was excellent. You see, the problem is most mentees come to you wanting to take. They don't come from the place of giving or providing value because they don't recognize that they have value to bring. So that young man, it was actually a man. I don't actually mentor men, but he endeared himself to me. He came from a position of providing value. And I always say that there's always something you can bring to the table. So come from a point of giving rather than taking. And then also recognize that the would-be mentors are only one person. That's even the reason why I started Hills and Ladders, because I got so many requests from so many women that wanted to be mentored. And I thought I needed to do it in a structured way that can cater for many people at the same time. Because at the end of the day, your mentor is only one person and she has a life. She can only give you so much time in any one day. But if you could do it sort of in a group way, you can reach more people and impact more people. So the answer to your question is come from a place of providing value. And I'm sure you will endear yourself to a would-be mentor.
I'm sure. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode.
I've had a great time. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. This is how far we can go on this episode of Ladies Talking Business. Don't forget to follow us on PlusTV Africa Lifestyle on YouTube to catch up with our programs. I am Moremi Akano. See you next time.